This video was made possible by Mzizi International, the official African diaspora clothing brand. Visit mzizishop.com for more information. South Africa, a country where diamonds are hidden beneath the surface and the sun warms the entire region. Not only are these diamonds beautiful stones, but they also have historical narratives. The history of South Africa extends beyond its brilliant diamonds, despite its breathtaking scenery. Explore this tale with us as we discover that diamonds reveal more than simply wealth. The struggles and triumphs of a resilient and resolute people as recounted. Before we dive into our topic today, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to our channels and ringing the bell to be notified about all our exciting future videos. The Dutch East India Company's arrival in the 17th century marked the beginning of a narrative that intertwined South Africa with the global trade routes. As Dutch settlers cultivated the land, they unwittingly laid the groundwork for a nation shaped by the complex dynamics of colonization. The British, with their imperial ambitions, later took the reins, introducing a new chapter fraught with conflicts and a struggle for control over the Cape Colony. The landscape became a canvas painted with the hues of power struggles and a burgeoning sense of national identity, both sown deep within the soil. However, it was not only the clash of colonial powers that left an indelible mark on South Africa. The discovery of diamonds in 1867 sparked a revolution that transformed the nation's economic landscape. Yet, beneath the gleaming facade of prosperity, the mining industry's darker underbelly emerged, characterized by segregation, exploitation, and the birth of a racially discriminatory system, apartheid. These diamonds, symbolic of wealth, became a double-edged sword, simultaneously propelling South Africa into the global spotlight and casting a shadow on its ethical and moral foundations. Many years ago, South Africa's story kicked off with the Dutch ships making their way to its shores. It was the 17th century, and the Dutch East India Company was on a big mission, not just to South Africa, but with dreams of reaching India. However, things took a different turn when one of their ships bit the dust near the South African coast in 1647. The stranded sailors had no choice but to try their hand at farming on the South African peaks. Little did they know, this unplanned farming gig marked the beginning of Dutch colonization in the region, setting the stage for what was to come. As the Dutch settlers settled in, known as Vrijburgers or free citizens, they didn't just farm. They set up a trading outpost in the Cape Town area. This outpost wasn't just a place for trade. It became a crucial moment in the mix of cultures and the shaping of South Africa's identity. The Dutch influence spread, leaving a lasting impact that went beyond the shores of the Cape Colony. Fast forward to the 19th century, and the British entered the South African scene. Like the Dutch before them, the British were all about control and dominance. Wars broke out against local tribes and the Dutch, ending with the British taking over the whole of South Africa. The Cape Colony was now in British hands, marking another turn in South Africa's complex history. Now, let's talk diamonds, those shiny stones that often mean wealth. In 1867, diamonds were found in Kimberley, and that set off what we now call the Mineral Revolution. It was a time of big change, shifting from a society focused on farming to becoming an industrialized nation. People rushed to Kimberley to try their luck, turning it into a buzzing hub of economic activity. The mining industry, ruled by big players like De Beers, became the heart of South Africa's economy. But behind the scenes of prosperity, there was a darker side of exploitation and discrimination. The pursuit of diamonds led to policies that separated the privileged from the workers, creating a deep divide in society. Those diamonds, once seen as symbols of brilliance, ended up casting shadows far beyond the mining pits. With the chapters of history tightly bound together, South Africa stepped into the 20th century at a major crossroads. The echoes of colonization, the wounds of exploitation, and the gleam of newfound wealth all mixed together, creating a story of real complexity. As one era wrapped up, It set the stage for the unfolding drama of apartheid, a chapter that would leave an indelible mark on South Africa's future. As the 20th century began, South Africa found itself caught between the highs of newfound prosperity and the lows of exploitation, with diamonds at the center of this complex narrative. The unearthing of diamonds in 1867 in Kimberley changed the game for the nation. Suddenly, this quiet town became a hotspot, drawing hordes of prospectors eager to strike it rich. The once serene landscape now echoed with the sounds of pickaxes and the hustle of those chasing their piece of the diamond dream. This diamond rush, known as the Mineral Revolution, transformed South Africa's economy in ways never seen before. The nation, primarily focused on farming until then, saw the rise of industry. Diamonds weren't just bringing in money, they were driving significant social shifts. The mining industry became the lifeblood of the nation, injecting vigor into its veins. However, beneath this economic boom was a darker side marked by exploitation, racial segregation, and the early signs of what would later become apartheid. The race for diamonds resulted in massive corporations taking control of the mining sector, and De Beers emerged as a powerhouse. By the early 20th century, they had a staggering 90% hold on the world's diamond market. But as De Beers thrived, the situation for the laborers working in the mines took a troubling turn. The mining companies started viewing their workers with suspicion, thinking they might be smuggling diamonds. This suspicion led to dehumanizing practices like strip searches, further deepening the racial divisions among the mining communities. As the mining industry expanded, so did the demand for resources and infrastructure. This population and economic boom strained existing resources, leading to food shortages in some regions. To address this scarcity, commercialized farming took center stage, with a focus on cash crops like sugarcane, coffee, tobacco, and cotton. This shift in farming practices not only widened socio-economic gaps, but also sowed the seeds for conflicts over land ownership and resource distribution. In the midst of this economic surge, tensions brewed between the British colonizers and the local population. The British, extending their influence, encountered resistance from those striving to reclaim their land and rights. This clash of interests laid the groundwork for a series of conflicts between the British and indigenous people, setting the stage for the turbulent path that lay ahead for South Africa. The amalgamation of economic expansion, racial segregation, and the beginnings of apartheid painted a complex picture for South Africa's future. As the nation reached a crucial juncture, the repercussions of the diamond rush would extend far beyond the sparkling surface, leaving an enduring impact on the socio-economic and political landscape of the country. The stage set by the diamond rush in South Africa's history laid the foundation for one of the most tumultuous periods in the nation's narrative, the apartheid era. Thank you for joining us on this eye-opening journey through our documentary, How Diamonds Destroyed South Africa. If you found this case study illustrating how diamonds played a pivotal role in the destruction of South Africa and direly affected the nation's fate, we encourage you to watch the full documentary on the New Africa Documentary channel.